how to make science accessible. Now we're going to see another example about how to make technology accessible. Gareth Stockdale, CEO of the Microbit Foundation and head of operations of the Education Center of the BBC, where he led a project linked to this programming plague, and that is spreading to a lot of schools and transforming the learning method, and it's been a revolution in the schools all over the world.
Thank you very much, Sonia, and thank you so much for having me here today. It's amazing to be at Fixing the Future. It's such an energizing event, and those two projects that we've heard about so far are brilliant. You know, the fold scope, I had a go on that earlier, and it's such a brilliant piece of kit. Although some of those images were quite scary, they did scare me a little bit. And then, the trash orchestra. I wish I could have one of those guitars. Particularly like the potatoes in sauce guitar. I want one of those. And you know, I don't think I can compete with a Broadway musical with Gloria Estefan, but it did make me start thinking about what the Microbit musical would be, and I think I'd like it to be Damon Albarn and Brian Eno with maybe some lyrics from Stephen Malkmus from Pavement. But anyway, I digress. I'm only here for 15 minutes, and I've already spent a minute talking absolute nonsense, so I apologise for that. So I'm Gareth Stockdale. I'm the CEO of the Microbit Educational Foundation, and I'm going to talk to you today about who we are, what we do, and what on earth is a microbit. So the Microbit project started back in 2014 in the BBC, in BBC Education. So the BBC Education was a department that was designed to take education to the masses in the UK. One of the things it did was look at societal deficits and build campaigns around that. So things like getting kids moving in schools, appreciation of classical music, literacy for the under fives. And in 2014, there were a lot of studies that were coming out talking about future skills. You know, this stat, 65% of children entering primary school are going into jobs that don't exist yet. I think that's largely a made-up stat, but it sort of tells us what the thinking was then, and loads of stats around the digital skills gap and how important that was. So in the BBC, we brought together a partnership of 29 partners, and we explored lots of options, so software, hardware, building cartoons, and we thought that physical computing was the best and the most appropriate tool to do something about that gap and to broaden participation in digital creativity and coding. So we brought together those partners, people like Microsoft and Samsung and ARM and Farnell and other companies. We created the Microbit, training for teachers, software, websites, and we distributed Microbits to all 11 and 12-year-olds in the UK. It was really successful. 89% of children who used the Microbit said it showed them that anyone can code. It made teachers more confident in their practice, and there was a 70% uplift in girls saying that they would take computing as a subject. From that original project, and I apologize for all of the English on these slides, so I do apologize for that. But from that project, the Microbit Educational Foundation was spun out. We are a not-for-profit based in the UK, but working globally. And our mission is to inspire every child to create their best digital future. So when we talk about all children, we want to broaden those that are taking their first steps with technology and being comfortable with technology, especially girls and those from underrepresented groups. We want children not to be consumers of technology. We want them to be creative and curious about technology, but also critical about its use and when it should be used. And we want them to be able to communicate what they're doing with their technology and collaborate in the making of that technology. And we think that will enable them to have their best digital future. So that's not necessarily creating a phalanx and a million software engineers, but ensuring that all children are comfortable talking about technology, because we have to have those concepts so that they can take part in all of those conversations that we need to have about how technology will work in our future society, when we're talking about things like AI and digital privacy. And also by increasing that diversity, we will end up with software and hardware which more accurately reflects the society in which they're used and make them more equitable. We do this in 3 ways. First way is we create hardware and software for children to use in the classroom. The second thing that we do is we create resources for teachers. Teachers are at the heart of what we do. By basing our work on formal education, we are able to reach the broadest number of children. And we are able to translate those resources into 15 and more languages with the help of volunteers. We've got volunteers who have translated all of our stuff into Catalan, so that's available. And the third thing that we do is we work in partnership to deliver programs. So what is a microbit? So this is a microbit. It looks really huge up there, but it's only a little tiny thing. So this is a microbit that I'm holding in my hand. It's a small microcontroller that you can program via your computer or your phone or a tablet. And we describe it as a physical computing device. So we feel that it allows you to take your code off your screen and into your hands to be able to then create solutions about things that you're passionate about and pursue projects that you're really interested in. It has a low floor, so it has a 5x5 LED matrix, which allows you to do something within 3 minutes. So you don't fail, you have that successful first interaction with the microbit. And you can write hello world or do an animation on it. But it's got a high ceiling and wide walls. So it has an accelerometer and a magnetometer, so you can shake it and make it do stuff. It can be used as a compass, a step counter, all programmed by yourself. It has Bluetooth and radio protocol, so you can communicate with other microbits that are around the classroom. It senses temperature and light. It has a speaker and a microphone. And it also has an edge connector on the bottom where you can connect loads of other accessories and sensors, etc., etc. So it really allows children to start with the basics and then work their way up. There is a block-based coding environment, which a lot of children start with, but then there are also editors in Python and C++. So again, you can continue that journey with the microbit as you grow with it. But the technology, the hardware isn't the only thing. So it's all of the resources around there that we use to support teachers and their teaching in the classroom. And we have distributed over 8 million microbits around the world. And we estimate that 39 million children have learnt digital skills with the microbit. And that's including projects in over 30 countries, ranging from Uruguay, where we work with Sabal to roll out microbits in their computational thinking course, using video conferencing and external teachers to build capacity for those teachers in country, through to Colombia, where we work with the British Council and the government there to do programs based around getting more girls involved in technology, through to programs in Denmark, for example, where very shortly the first microbit will be going into space. The astrobit will be going into the ISS. And we had to make some modifications of the microbit to make that happen, because apparently blinking red lights are not a good thing in an international space station. Through to Catalonia, where the government is rolling out its computational thinking and robotics program, and microbits are going into, I believe, 3,000 schools across the region. And just to talk to you about what's next for the microbit, so we are currently working in the UK. So the project started with a rollout in 2016. We're now doing another one for primary schools in the UK called the BBC Microbit, the Next Gen. So that is trying to get class sets of microbits into every primary school in the UK. We launched it 3 weeks ago. We're currently just under 80% of schools have signed up, just under 18,000 primary schools. And that will be support for teachers and for their learning. But the other thing I wanted to highlight is, obviously, everybody's talking about AI at the moment and how it's going to either save the world or destroy the world. So we think it's important that children understand machine learning and AI and what they can do with it, how they can take control and create with it. So we will be running something called the Mass Playground Survey, working with the Office for National Statistics, where you will use the microbit to do a survey of your playground, your physical environment, so understanding how big your playground is, what the biodiversity is like, temperature, light, sound. We will then be creating an algorithm that we will download onto the microbit. You will wear it on your wrist, which will allow you to monitor during your playtime and lunchtime what movement you're doing. So whether you're running, jumping, skipping, hopping. Hopefully, we haven't made the algorithm yet, but hopefully it will do all of those things. And working with the Office for National Statistics, we will see what the correlation is between that. And also, we will be creating machine learning lessons so that you can use the accelerometer to be able to build your own machine learning models, recognizing gestures. But again, it's not about just building the model, it's about then creating with that model. So we've had children who, when we've been testing it, have been using the microbit to be able to build a model so that you can recognize the best tennis backhand, or create a life jacket where it recognizes when it's falling and inflates. So it's not just about the sort of machine learning, it's understanding how you can practically use it. And we think that the microbit helps children to be empowered to think about how technology can help them shape the future. So these are all photographs from our Do Your Bit challenge. So the Do Your Bit challenge aligns technology with the Sustainable Development Goals, working with an organization called The World's Largest Lesson and their partners UNICEF. So we set a challenge based around each year a different SDG goal, and we allow the children to create. They don't need a microbit to do it. We welcome paper prototypes. There's a simulator on our editors, so they can use them as well, or they can use the physical microbit. We do say when you use the physical microbit, children do get a microbit moment when they download code for the first time and take it out into the physical world, and they do love that. And just to highlight some of the brilliant projects that we've had. So we had a team in Taiwan who created a project. They were worried about nesting birds in their local river. When flooding happened or the river ran too quickly, they were worried about the nests being swept away. So they created a floating platform for the birds to nest on. They used the microbit to monitor the river levels, and then had a pulley system so that when the river level started to rise, the bird nest platform came in from the main bit of the river and protected the nests. So it was really interesting to see how the children thought about using technology to do things that were important to their local communities. Another girl in China was worried in her apartment block of birds kept flying into her windows, so she used a proximity sensor and lights and noise. So when birds were sensed coming near the window, the alarms went off, the lights flashed, and the birds hopefully didn't kill themselves. And then finally, a topic in the US, post-pandemic, children coming back into the classroom and being nervous about being back in that social setting. So one girl created a communicator using the radio function between herself and her classmates and her teacher, so they could check in with the teacher and the teacher could check in with them without bringing any sort of focus on them, so they could let the teacher know if they were feeling a bit anxious or something like that. And what we really love is the simplicity of the solutions. Again, it's not about the code or the technology, it's about using that code and technology as a facilitator to create those solutions. So I'll just finish up by, again, as Jim said, we need help to be able to reach our goals. We've reached 39 million children. Our aim is to reach 100 million by the end of 2028. So we have amazing partners around the world who help us to deliver projects. So if any of you work for organizations that want to work with us, please come and seek me out. We have a wonderful translator community here in Catalonia, but also around the world. So if you can help us to translate our materials into the local language, that would be amazing. We have a champions program for educators to come and join us and learn more about the microbit and to spread that word to others around the regions. So thank you very much for listening, and hopefully we can all work together so we can inspire every child to create their best digital future. Thank you.